But WRAL's Kasey Cunningham was documenting it live on Facebook when she saw something unexpected, a shaved ice truck.
Oh my gosh, look what just pulled up. What's your name?
My name's Dave Engelhardt.
Kasey, nice to meet you. That is so cool. Oh, I gotta throw a microphone on this guy and get his story.
Yes, she did. We spoke to the man behind the Kona truck. Kasey Cunningham has that story.
The road to Cedar Island is filled with trucks. Mostly the kind of trucks you would expect to see after a hurricane.
Come on.
But then there's David Engelhardt.
Come on over and get yourself one if you want.
While crews are busy restoring power, he's restoring faith in humanity.
We know they're hot and they're sweaty and it's humid out here, and we try to bring a little joy and a little bit of comfort to them by serving them a free shaved ice. Gentlemen.
9 years ago, Engelhardt and his wife launched their shaved ice business. Then a storm came through the area, bringing new customers.
Well, you know, our first year in business, we're still trying to build our business up. You know, we're like, yeah, this is great. You enjoy. You can put your flavors on any way you like there.
But then he saw the linemen working hard, pulling their community back together, putting it in its place.
Appreciate you guys. And after about the second stop, my wife and I just looked at each other and said, you know, I don't think we need to be selling, so we just started giving it away. You don't owe me anything. You guys, we appreciate you guys.
As we follow the power crews into Cedar Island, we learn the gateway to the Outer Banks suffered some of the worst damage from Hurricane Dorian.
The locals, it was the highest water they've ever seen here at the island.
Days later, the water still hasn't completely receded.
I think we're the last of the area to not have power, so should be soon.
And it will be, with these crews working nonstop, and with David following closely behind.
Is there anybody else over there? Y'all good? All right, y'all be blessed. Appreciate it. Be safe.
In the city of Durham, inside a one-bedroom apartment,
It takes all of 5 minutes to make a mask.
is Michelle Kelly, the mask genie. But for us, it was the very beginning of the pandemic where we first met Michelle. Masks were a brand new concept for all of us. Viewer messages flooded my inbox, many critical if the mask slipped or looked strange. And then I saw Michelle's message.
I remember the day we seen you on the news and you were pulling your mask. You kept adjusting. I'm like, I got to make this lady a mask. I'm going to make her a mask and send it to her.
And after expressing my gratitude, I would soon learn masks were also new to Michelle, too.
And did you sew before this, before the pandemic?
Actually, no, I did not sew. I didn't even know how to sew. I was having a nervous breakdown over the pandemic, and I was putting myself into every conspiracy theory that you could think of. And my children were like, Mom, you need to take all this energy and put it into something positive.
So with a little leftover fabric, Wi-Fi,
I actually made my own pattern by watching a YouTube video.
and a $40 sewing machine from Walmart, she got started.
I just started making masks because I couldn't do anything to help anybody else. So I'm like, well, maybe I can just help keep people safe.
She made hundreds, giving them to nurses at Wake Met, strangers, neighbors, friends, and yes, local TV news reporters.
And as I started making them with the supplies that I had, and I ran out, and then people wanted to buy them.
A year and a half into the pandemic and thousands of masks later,
At least 5,000 masks, at least.
The state of North Carolina will no longer require you to wear a mask.
so this may sound like the end of a story, but for mask genie Michelle Kelly, it's actually the very beginning. You started with masks.
Now I do T-shirts, air fresheners, keychains, doggy jackets. It's like 30 different things.
Yes, her mask business turned into something bigger, something greater. Purpose through a pandemic.
You never would imagine seeing you in my kitchen, period, much less being here with a full-fledged business.
And as we may move a little further away from masks, Michelle holds a little piece of each one closely.
I made a quilt out of all my scraps of my masks because I knew that, you know, when the end of the year came, because I thought it would only last a year, that I would have something to show for it.
Something pretty great to show for, pieced together, all people she's helped protect. And for Michelle, that's even better than her own business.
I'm proud of that, though.
Kasey Cunningham, WRAL News in Durham.
Summer camp
Bob Nowak
with my little brother and my dad.
has the fondest of memories of his time as a Boy Scout. Well, mostly.
Yeah, this is me after being caught out in the woods and falling into poison ivy.
His kids
I'm real proud of you.
grew up hearing about his Boy Scout experience, and this year,
You are going to learn what cold is on the January trip.
one of his kids decided to join.
I heard the word Boy Scouts, immediately came to me, just camping and bonfires, and it just sounded like a lovely thing to do.
Bob's daughter, Ava, joined the BSA.
I didn't even know that they were going to make it available to the girls. I'm sorry, I'm just so happy. I can't tell you how happy I'm about this.
Bob reached the highest achievement as a Boy Scout.
7% of the children that join the BSA make it to the Eagle program. Both my brother and I both achieved Eagle.
Now Ava has that option too.
If I were to become one of the Eagle Scouts, I would probably be one of the first.
I'm thrilled that girls have all the choices that their brothers have.
Not everyone shares this sentiment. Last year, the Boy Scouts of America allowed girls to join for the very first time, transitioning from the Boy Scout program to Scouts BSA. Troops can be all female or all male. The shift has faced backlash. The Nowaks experienced some of that firsthand in comments on social media when they announced Ava was starting a Boy Scout troop.
It took about 10 minutes, and maybe 2/3 of them were negative because they didn't understand. I'm really proud of that decision that you made.
The critics didn't stop Ava from forming a troop of her own.
I feel this would just be a great path in life to be able to take.
At first, Ava was following in her dad's footsteps. Now she's blazing a trail of her own.
I took 2 steps back and I let her lead.
Kasey Cunningham,
And I followed her.
WRAL News, Wake County.
And get this, 2020 will bring the first class of female Eagle Scouts.
A play date in Pullen Park is pretty common. How these friends got here isn't. Come on. There's a strong connection between 25-year-old Samantha Snipes and 42-year-old Temple Phipps, but it all started because of one connection that was missed.
So I was in the window seat of the plane and she was flying standby. I wasn't supposed to be on that flight.
Young and 8 months pregnant, Samantha had missed her connection to Raleigh.
Yeah, I missed my flight because I was like too big to navigate the airport. It was the Atlanta airport, so it was huge.
The missed connection meant sitting next to Temple on a flight.
She was like super excited for me for being pregnant and everything.
So she sits down in the middle seat beside me and then she's really nervous and anxious, and I ask her why and she starts telling me.
Samantha was considering putting the baby up for adoption because of family problems. Temple didn't have any children.
For a variety of reasons, it just never happened for me and things never fell into place.
That's a goose. Maybe it was the altitude or longing for a child of her own. Temple proposed an idea. She could adopt the baby.
I thought, she could always say no, but she didn't have a plan, and maybe this was divine, and that's why I'm supposed to be here.
The two parted ways at RDU. 3 days later, Temple got a phone call.
Said, it's Samantha from the plane.
3 days later.
I said, is everything okay? And she said, I'm still in Raleigh. I had the baby. Do you want to come see us?
Mama. Temple spent hours with Samantha and the baby. It was in those moments Samantha made the most difficult decision of her life.
I'm just sitting here like, I'm going to give up everything I have that I've known my whole life, but he looks so happy, she looks so happy, like what do I want to do? And it was, it's scary, it's really scary, but it's the best thing I could have done in my life.
She said, I wanted to see you with him and I think you should be his mother. And I literally started shaking uncontrollably.
Bringing home a baby.
Baby Vaughn is 18 months old now. Samantha never caught that flight back home, starting a new life nearby. And Temple started her life as a new mom.
Grab Samantha's hand.
A missed connection, connecting both women for life.
Can you give Mommy a kiss? Give me Mommy a kiss. Now have a kiss. Thank you. Sweet boy. Sweet boy.
For the first time since Florence's long-anticipated departure, Carolina Beach residents are putting the pieces of their island back together. Some parts upside down, some parts underwater. And today, the town is towing a fine line of losing electricity again.
There's a wire. Stay over there.
During a disaster, everyone has their part in carrying Carolina Beach back to normal. Today,
Got this.
Kevin Tanner.
Stay on that side. There's a wire. There you go.
Is the keeper of cable.
I just know if it cuts the cable here, it might cut all the internet everywhere, and everybody needs their internet for seeing what's going on. So I'll wait for a while longer, see what happens. So there's a wire. Okay. Oblivious. They can't see it is the problem.
Like many residents,
if you live here, you get used to them.
It's his first time back on the island since a mandatory evacuation was issued exactly a week ago.
It was a hurricane. You prepare for it, and then you leave if you can. And that's the best thing you can do. Been through Bertha, Fran, and all the rest in between.
That's why he can tell us with confidence his home came out okay.
All in all, Carolina Beach had a lot better than everybody else.
And check this out. He may have had it better than all of Carolina Beach.
I thought somebody didn't tie up their boat very good.
A farewell gift from Florence. Hurricane winds carried a sailboat right to Tanner's backyard.
Free boat. Go take a look. You can welcome, take it with you for all I care.
In Carolina Beach, Kasey Cunningham, WRAL News.
Where's Miss Kasey?
I'm right behind you.
But just barely. It's hard to keep up with 8-year-old Carmen Blakely.
Kasey?
Yeah.
Which news organization are you from?
I'm from Waves 3 News.
Oh!
Carmen takes me through the halls of Breckenridge Franklin Elementary with complete ease.
Under my jumper.
Under your jumper.
You're nice.
She'd tell you we have that in common.
I'm very nice to people. I
Neat sound.
do all my work. I have a cat at home.
Qualities of your typical 8-year-old girl, but Carmen was born without sight, meaning she's feeling her way through the world around her.
Carmen has septo-optic
dysplasia.
Thank you, Carmen. Dysplasia. And Carmen has been blind since birth. And so
I was diagnosed with septo-optic dysplasia when I was 6 months old.
Okay, there we go.
So in addition to 2nd grade, Carmen spends additional time learning to read and write in Braille.
Well, I like to write stories more often, but for today, this one, I might write a list of names. Kasey, come here, feel it. Kasey.
And if you can't tell by now, she happens to be great at it.
Braille is hard.
No, it's not.
Carmen is one of 50 people in the entire country that's a winner in this year's Braille Challenge.
And I'm one of the finalists to go to Los Angeles.
Carmen will compete in California in 2 weeks, and we have a feeling she'll do pretty well.
Then one day, in his own good time, Leo bloomed.
After all, she's racing through the world around her. One that might be unfamiliar at times, but a world that gets bigger every day.
Follow me, Miss Kasey.
I'm coming.
To take fabric that's just lying there and to turn it into something so beautiful.
It's a feeling that never gets old each time April Hickman creates another piece for her children's clothing business called Wonderfully Marley.
This is where Wonderfully Marley starts.
Inside her family's small room in the Salvation Army.
I kind of grew up in the foster care system. You know, my mom was, of course, an addict. And so, you know, it made life kind of hard.
And as time passed in her difficult life, April found herself pregnant.
And I was offered the abortion pill. And I didn't take it immediately.
Ultimately, April moved into the Salvation Army and stitch by stitch put the pieces of her life back together.
Sewing has been, oh my gosh, an amazing feeling for me.
It didn't just stop with the machine. She took a micro business class, an entrepreneur course, and started her very own business named after...
Your name is what?
Mommy.
Marley, say hi.
Hi.
That's right, April's daughter is wonderfully Marley, the child she almost didn't have, now the namesake of the skill that saved her. Now she's growing her business, saving for a house, and it all started with some needle and thread.
It's a piece of me that I've created in the world, and nobody else done that. I did that.
In the bathtub of the world? Yeah. Local legends?
10 years of robotic mayhem.
Titles you've never ever heard before.
A small town, one big city doctor, one huge lie.
Storylines you couldn't dream of. It's the small town video store that had it all.
You never know what you're going to find. I mean, that's it.
Owner Todd Brashear hasn't changed much in the 18 years since he first opened the store. But in that time, spinning discs turned into digital streaming.
I wouldn't be surprised to anybody to hear that a video store wasn't doing as well as it used to do, you know, based on technology.
So Wild and Woolly's decided it's time to roll the credits on their story. A sad ending scene for their most loyal customers.
Yeah, it's sad, you know, but it's change.
Because whether it's a big hit blockbuster,
I found the Aztec mummy here. I'd never heard of it.
Or more selective cinema.
You find genres here you probably wish weren't out there, you know, but that's okay.
Wild and Woolly Video was home to the unique.
It was something that I wished existed in this town, you know, because I always liked more unusual movies.
And his customers are glad he did.
You've expanded my mind.
Wow.
As customers empty the shelves, finding their last bargain treasures.
$16.88 altogether.
They were hoping for an alternate ending. But like the end of every movie, it's time to fade to black.